of us should make the perfect pair. From Meade County straight to you. It's the show where stories come true.
We are live in studio with a special guest today. Earlene, I'm kind of excited. Right next to you, we have sitting Congressman Brett Guthrie.
Brett Guthrie, how are you, sir?
It's great to be here. What toe-tapping music, huh? I knew if I wasn't on the radio, I might have been like bouncing around. I mean, it wasn't on video.
We got
it is hit.
AI is helping us in so many ways.
Oh, wow. We can talk about AI today, I'm sure.
I would rather not.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's important, but
So-
yeah, we
We
can.
know, we know.
Yeah. So we're glad you're in town. Could you tell us why you're in Meade County today?
Well, it's great to be here today. So I just met with the mayor and the judge and looking at different projects here in town. Going to meet with the Chamber of Commerce Board a little later this afternoon, looking at Nucor. Good to communicate with the citizens of Meade County. Thanks for allowing me the opportunity to do here and speaking at a political function tonight.
Well, you know what, Brett, we've always, I've been talking to you now for about 5 years, I think it has.
Since you were at Fort Knox.
Yeah, and so now we've grown to now this as actually a news item.
This is great.
And it's a great platform to reach a new audience besides those that touch paper. Earlene has done an amazing job as our editor and just connecting what a community paper should come back to.
Exactly.
But there's a lot of people that go uninformed, and we try to bring them the currency of what is really reality versus what is social media. So to have the source on the show,
Well, thanks.
I think that you've done a lot of great work. Talk to us about what's happening in Congress right now.
Well, we just passed the One Big Beautiful Bill, the President Trump's bill that passed out of the House.
Yeah.
So all of us, remember it's a bill. You got to go from the House to the Senate. So the Senate's going to come back after this week. We're home for Memorial Day.
Okay.
So let's remember Memorial Day. And
Yes, sir.
particularly James Meade, who died in the
Yes, sir.
died in the War of 1812. So that's so every time you see Meade County or Meade High School or whatever, remember there's great Americans that have served for us to have the opportunity to be here.
That
so
is
we're
true.
home this week, and so we get back next week, and the Senate will begin working on the bill. And my commission was I'm chairman of Energy and Commerce, which is one of the big committees in D.C.
Absolutely.
I'm one of the four that would go in the president's the Oval Office with myself and Jason Smith, who chairs Ways and Means, and with the speaker and the leader.
Yeah,
Leader
you said
Scalise.
you were going to call Donald and have him come on the show today, right? No, I'm just kidding. I'm teasing.
He probably, I mean, it's funny. We can reach out, but it's amazing the things he'll call in and do. He's not conventional.
Yeah, well, we'd love him to know that there's a Republican-owned newspaper, but not all bad. Not all media is bad, but
We worked on it. And so my section of the bill was we were generate savings over the course of it's supposed to be $880 billion. We did over $1 trillion in savings. And it's things that I think most people in our district would agree with. I had someone actually from Meade County that I was talking to and was concerned. I said, if I tell Meade County that able-bodied people, and we exempt out, pregnant women. Well, I guess pregnant people. I guess you can just say pregnant women because that's one and the same.
they're the only ones who could be pregnant.
The only ones that can be, but pregnant women, people that are disabled, people that are have substance use disorder, people with a dependent at home, because you spend more money on child care than you will generating income working sometimes.
Can you actually clarify what able working is?
We do. So somebody would say, what if somebody had just diagnosed with cancer and they're working? It says that we use the term frail health.
Yeah.
So that gives some leeway for some states and other people to make those decisions, because you can't just define everything. But essentially, if you're we exempted it down to someone who just is not choosing not to go to work.
So interesting.
And so I keep hearing these numbers, like 1 out of every 3 Kentuckians, they say, are going to lose their Medicaid because of this. There are 3 groups of people that lose Medicaid under this: illegal, people who are illegal, people who are ineligible. They just don't qualify for Medicaid, but they're on the rolls for a lot of that happens. And the other is able. They're able to get up and go to work, and they're choosing not to. And I was talking to somebody from Meade County, and I said, I would dare say, if I was to poll Meade County and to say, if the hardworking taxpayers here, if somebody is choosing not to work, do you think you should go to work every day and provide their health care for them? And I would dare say that would pull off the charts.
And we
Yeah.
all know those people. We all know people who can work and they don't, and then they almost brag about it, and they
Well-
talk about how much money that they get not working.
by
They
not
actually
working, and
say,
that's so we
"I
just
make
want to
more
make
money
it,
than-"
and so what we do, so it goes up to 19 to 64. As food stamps used to be up to 55. I'm 61, I'm still working, so I think that's up to 64. Then at 65 you go into Medicare. And they say, well, what about if somebody loses their job at 60, 61? That's tough to do. You can do community engagement. You can volunteer for your church. You can, but there's 20 hours a week. It's actually a little less than 20 because there's five Fridays in a month. So it's about 18 hours a week that you have to get up and go do something.
Right.
And you could be volunteering at the kids' school. You could be volunteering at your church. There's so many things that you can do. And we just think if you're going to get something for free, remember Medicaid is free, then you should, one, be vulnerable and you can't do it yourself. I think society wants to take care of those people. I do.
I do.
And the other one is with the expanded Affordable Care Act, they really give it to people that are able to work and they just choose not to. And I'll defend that. And people say that 1 in every 3, if that fact's true, I don't know if that's true, but if it is, the only people affected by our bill are people that are just not eligible to have it. They're illegal. Or they're able to work. And if we have a low workforce participation rate in Kentucky, we have a lot of able-bodied workers that just aren't working. And so if this gets them into the workforce, I think it'll help our economy.
Yeah, so I'm going to give you the facts for Kentucky. There's 4.1 million people live in Kentucky. There are 325,000 non-disabled adults that are enrolled in Medicaid, and 59,000 of those Kentuckians from that roll would be the ones that are impacted. 59,000 out of 4.1 million people are the ones that are currently would be impacted.
And these are 59,000 people that are able to work.
Able to work.
And not have a dependent or a dependent parent.
Yeah.
Because I'm
That's
at that age now that people are taking care of their parents. We have that exempted out as well.
Okay. Let me see here. If we can,
But the other thing, so we save money if we could do that. So the other one is I'm energy and commerce, so we don't just have healthcare, we have the environment, and so the environmental programs and the Inflation Reduction Act. There was a grant called the Green New Deal, grants for the Green New Deal. And there are $27 billion of your hard taxpayers. And we're going through those with Lee Zeldin, who's the EPA administrator. So we're trying to claw this money back. And there is there's a group called Progress Forward. It was started by a lady named Stacey Abrams, who's a political operative out of Georgia, very well-connected Democrat. She created a charity called Progress Forward in December of 2023. It had I'm going to get this straight. I want people to fact check me if they don't believe this. It had $100, 100, no thousand, no million, no $100 in its checking account. She received a grant for $2 billion.
Holy cow.
And she pays herself $840,000 a year to administer the grant. Now, if people aren't offended by that, they can't be offended.
Well, so, but you say that. I've had somebody that said they lived in California and they send out all these checks to pay farmers that are working, and they pay them, but they pay them under somebody else's name who has a legitimate Social Security number. They're going to have a great Social Security benefit package when they retire because they're paying for a whole bunch of other people under somebody's social. So I know there's ways to
these
get
are
around.
specifically just grants that you got, and so. There's another $100 billion that we were able to save by the EV mandates. And I know that in this area, you've got the Ford Blue Oval, SK Blue Oval. But we just feel like people should choose the car to buy. I think the F-150 is a fantastic product. Lightning, I've driven it. It's a fantastic product. I think people
get them right here at
adapt
Raise
them.
Ford.
But I don't think that people should be forced to buy a car they choose not to buy. So I don't really apologize for that. I know it affects Glendale, but I think Glendale, eventually, they're going to make a good product. People are going to buy them. And so Glendale is going to fill up over time. And so maybe it'll even be better for that community than trying to have actually only one of the plants is scheduled to open anyway. But it will be better to have a couple of thousand jobs open quickly instead of 4,000 at one time because maybe we'll get some more of these 59,000 you were talking about.
That's right.
Into the workforce. But I just. Sometimes you take votes and people say, how about your district? And I say, it's just good. You got to do what's good for America.
Right.
And then everything will fall into place. But the F-150 Lightning is a great product. People are going to buy it. And I think that they need to choose to buy it, not be forced to.
We're going to go.
We're going to stop. I'm sorry.
You got to go. You go.
We're going to stop for just a second. We
Okay.
want our sponsors to have their opportunity. So we'll be right back.
I look forward to it.
All right, give me 1 second.
This episode is sponsored by Serenity Fitness, Yoga, and Reiki, where wellness isn't about following rigid rules, it's about discovering what truly works for you. Founder Wendy Spahn, a retired and disabled Army veteran, created Empowered Serenity, a coaching program designed to help you break free from old patterns, reconnect with your intuition, and step into your power. With meditation, movement, energy work, and intuitive practices, this isn't just coaching, it's a journey of transformation. Learn more at myserenityfitness.com.
Looking to master the art of Taekwondo? Join Sharon's Taekwondo Academy, founded by Bobby Sharon in 1975. Conveniently located off of North Dixie Highway in Elizabethtown, our academy welcomes students of all ages and skill levels. Connect with us on Facebook at Sharon Taekwondo to see our vibrant community, including many Meade County residents. Visit us online at www.sharontaekwondo.com. Sharon's Taekwondo Academy, where discipline meets excellence. Injured? Unsure where to turn? Meet Darren Sipes, attorney at law, Brandenburg's trusted personal injury advocate. Located at 313 Hillcrest Drive, Darren is here to fight for your rights and get the justice you deserve, whether it's an accident at work or on the road. His expertise and compassion put you first. Call today at 270-422-3939 to schedule a free consultation. Don't face the legal system alone. Let Darren Sipes lead the way. Your fight is his mission.
Tired of just getting by? It's time to optimize. At New Vital Infusion and Wellness, we help you level up your energy, balance your hormones, boost your immunity, and glow from the inside out. From IV vitamin drips and NAD Plus to weight loss and aesthetic treatments, we treat the whole you, body, mind, and vitality. Feel sharper, sleep deeper, look brighter. Call 270-735-6126 or visit us at newvitalinfuse.com. New Vital Infusion and Wellness. Live optimized.
We're
Now you
live
are.
now, and so we're back. Thank you to our sponsors who keep us going. We're here today with Brett Guthrie. One of the things that I would like for you to talk to me like I'm a 5-year-old. Explain to me a little bit about Spectrum Auctions and how that affects the bill that we're talking
Spectrum auction. So that's interesting. It's something that I never run around campaigning. Send me to Congress and I'll deliver you Spectrum. But it's important. And so what Spectrum is the highway that all of our radio signal, broadcast signal, everything that travels through the air, your cell phone, everything travels through the air through Spectrum. And the government, it's a public entity. Government owns the Spectrum. And so what we do is try to figure out how do we make more Spectrum available for the public. So the military, because they got to talk radios, they got to talk. So over time, so this is what essentially happened in the 1930s, 20s, and 30s when radio came online, then broadcast television came online in the 50s.
Sure.
They essentially just allocated Spectrum to networks and they just have it. And so what we're doing is reclaiming a lot of the Spectrum because it has to be used, but it needs to be used for like 5G, 6G, if we're going to beat China to the most updated cell phones.
Absolutely.
And so the big thing is data so much, like Netflix and downloading.
Right.
And so what you do is that you have the Department of Defense, other entities, they call clear Spectrum. So they say, all right, we need this for an emergency. We don't need that for an emergency. And that we make available for AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile to buy. That's where the money comes from. And then the politics or the policy you get into, well, Wi-Fi is free Spectrum. So a lot of people who use Wi-Fi for their products go, we'll make it all free. And we dedicate some Spectrum to be sold because it helps offset the budget deficit. Plus, it allows innovators to say they have a guaranteed stream of Spectrum. They know it.
Right.
So they're going to innovate their phone, their processes. That's where all the innovation comes from. And then people innovate bad Spectrum, they call it. There's good Spectrum and bad Spectrum, like there's good highways and bad ones.
I gotcha.
Then the bad Spectrum, we said, we'll just make that available. And people have figured out how to use it with Wi-Fi. So this
it's
creates...
$88 billion. Is that realistic?
That's the estimate. Well, we think that's low, actually. The value of Spectrum is pretty high. And so the big debates are how much do we sell, how much do we make available for other people just to use?
Right.
And the other one is how much do we protect for our intelligence community uses Spectrum. Our defense needs it, obviously. If you ever watch the Battle of Midway when they're talking back and forth on the radios, that's using Spectrum, and we certainly need to make that available.
Yeah.
Okay. No, very good.
A lot of people don't know your background coming from West Point and being a former artillery officer. I love you're not really involved on the defense side, but you are through this. And a lot of people don't realize the impacts that the committee that you chair, that it physically has on all of our military forces, not just Army with an Army background.
It does all of it, and so when I first got to Washington, the question I didn't do a career military. I decided to change my family and started a manufacturing business. So that was kind of my expertise. When you show up to Washington, there's 435 of us, so you try to find where you can best contribute. And so energy and commerce side, I thought I would, but I wanted to make sure I had a foot in the military side. I have Fort Knox, obviously, and others. And so I'm actually on a NATO committee, and I was just in Dayton, Ohio this weekend. I'm sorry I missed a couple of the memorial events, particularly Grayson County has a great. You have here at Ratcliffe Cemetery, but I was with Bosnians and Albanians and Montenegrins and all the other groups on celebrating 30 years of peace in the Balkans, which is
huge,
kind of unique.
Well, and it's
time. And so
right now.
But I'm on that committee, and the committees were meeting with the presidents of those countries.
Good.
Yeah, so I do have a foot in that as well.
That's good.
And it's important to Knox because the Fifth Corps is in
the Balkans.
Poland, and they're that mostly Russia is what they have their eye on, I guess, but the others as well.
And as of this week is a hot topic, obviously. So.
Well, it is absolutely. It's you just can't trust and deal with Putin in a way that he only respects strength, and we have a very strong president, and I think President Trump has shown patience, which I think is good. But I think it appears President Trump's patience is beginning to run out, and hopefully President Putin or Chairman Putin, I can't forget his title anymore. But hopefully he will see that he's dealing with a very tough guy. And he better get in line, or we'll see what goes next.
Absolutely.
So I know we touched base a little bit on the battery plant that's down in Glendale. So we've been talking a little bit about the climate and environmental grants.
That we're coming back.
Exactly. Now, can you tell us a little bit about that? And while we're talking about it, can you tell us a little bit about how you feel about the solar farms and the things that are happening?
Okay, so my view of it is that one, on the climate grants, is that I brought one up. There were several of them. There's one that went for $5 billion to a person connected to Al Gore. Another one, this is $2 billion that Stacey Abrams got, called Progress Forward. Her job, her charity is to buy appliances, energy efficient appliances for people, and she's going to pay herself $840,000. And so that's 5 times what a member of Congress, over 5 times what a member of Congress makes, and to implement a grant Congress put forward. That is just a complete waste of taxpayer money. Some of these programs are, so we're clawing those back. The mandate to buy an electric vehicle, we took away. I think that people should choose to buy, and they're going to be they're going to be good cars. I think they're good products, but people should make the choice. And on the solar farms, it just shouldn't be subsidized by the federal government. If a person who owns land wants to lease lease to somebody that wants to build solar farms, there needs to be protections to make sure they don't abandon them and things like that. But that's a choice. But the problem is when the federal government subsidizes the solar farm to go rent the land, and that's going away too with the solar. We call that's actually in Ways and Means, but it was production tax credits. And so people. Solar power needs to make it on its own, and it probably can. Not in the small kind of farm ways that you're seeing here, but big. I was with Elon Musk, and he was talking about a 10 by 10 mile solar farm, like in the deserts, in California, or in Arizona, places like that. Versus, just a little solar patches here and there, because you just can't make those work without subsidies. And so the problem when you subsidize solar. That they usually sell power sometimes cheaper than you can if you generate natural gas or coal or even nuclear. And if you sell it cheaper because of the subsidy, then people don't build the other. And then all of a sudden, either you're going to have to subsidize it forever, or you're not going to get the power that you need. And China is building 2 coal plants a week. They're going to have over 100 coal plants built this year to create energy for AI to generate these huge data centers, and I was talking with Elon Musk, actually, losing AI, the battle for there's going to be one platform, and it's going to be around the world, and it's either going to be done. Europe has taken themselves out. Europe, by their energy policies and their regulatory policy, they say we don't want to compete anymore. I don't think they consciously made that decision.
Right.
But that's what they've done. So it's either going to be us or China. China's building the energy to do it. Our biggest data centers need energy, and we need some regulation around AI, but it doesn't need to be so prescriptive you can't do it. And I said this, and I believe it. If we lose the battle to AI, that is a geo catastrophe as bad as if the Soviets had won the Cold War. It's that level. And he goes, you're right. It's what Elon said. He said, it's like you're in Rome, and the barbarians are at the gate, and Caesar calls for his army, and the army says, well, I would do it, but I got to go get a permit. and so we need permits. We need to make sure that we treat the environment in a way that's respectable and clean. But we also don't need to have this whole system that people can use that system just to delay everything.
Right.
Yeah.
We have to build.
So, there's a lot of controversy over AI, but everybody knows that is the way of the future, and not in a Terminator kind of sense, movie projection, but there are so many efficiencies that are already being uncovered. I mean, just like the intro to this show, I would have paid a producer, somebody, a songwriter, in 5 minutes, I spit this thing out and we've got an intro for a show,
Oh, really? You did that?
Yeah, AI is super awesome,
So
right?
that singer is generated by AI?
AI.
Right.
Oh, wow.
AI.
I've been really slow to upswing on AI.
So you didn't have to hire a singer to go in the studio
Did it
and
all.
sing that? Wow.
Did it in 5 minutes. And, I had to go through a few prompts to get to it. And then, of course, that time it takes to process it in computing. As I see, we went down the road of AI. So quantum computing also has to probably be a consideration.
Well, it's
and
massive amounts of energy to do it.
Yeah.
Massive
Right.
amounts of
And
energy.
that's the argument on some people. Some people are very upset about the energy it's taking to operate AI. And then other people are talking about how AI is so wonderful because of all the great things it does.
Well, like
But somehow or another we
we're
have
kind
to-
of on the frontier of it, and so it's okay to have concerns about it. I think,
And we-
Right.
but we can't, it's here.
It's going to happen.
And if you don't produce the energy to do it, China will.
Yeah.
China is actually.
Yeah.
And so it's imperative that we don't let China control the AI around the world.
Oh, absolutely.
We had a hearing the other day. There's a disease, a device.
Yep.
It was a medical device, and when they found the medical device, they did some work on it. They found it had a URL code that sent information back to Beijing. So it's a Chinese-owned. That's why you shouldn't use TikTok. It's
Yeah.
a Chinese-owned.
That's why we haven't
medical
used it.
device.
We don't use
I
TikTok.
have TikTok.
But you take a Chinese-owned medical device,
Yeah.
the Chinese made, and you use it just in a normal surgery, and all of a sudden, whoever's got it sending information back to Beijing. That's real.
Yep.
So you
No.
talk about scary.
Yeah, no, I
scary.
get
That's
it.
scary.
That's really scary.
Yeah.
Or
So-
go ahead. No.
Are we still on AI?
We are. No, you can go.
Whatever you want to talk about. I'm here
We
for
got
whatever.
2 minutes left because he's on a next schedule. So
Okay, so here's what I'd like to know. So many people are saying there is no way that undocumented people are getting funds. But,
Oh, that's just not true at all.
and
So
that's what I want you to do. I
you-
want you to explain to us
how that works. So
and
there's
what dollar amount.
there's
and
two
anything
ways that it works. One is that somebody shows up in the emergency room. So what we did, because one of the concerns people say, well, hospitals are going to take care of people anyway when they show up. We actually there's a thing called disproportionate share,
Right.
and we increased that for hospitals, so uncompensated care. So if somebody's illegal and they're not on Medicaid, but they show up at an emergency room, I think most humanity wants them to be treated if there's an emergency. The hospitals can get reimbursed this way for it,
Oh,
but instead of just getting a healthcare benefit that most Americans don't get. But a lot of hospitals will sign everybody up that shows up for Medicaid, and then the hospitals will go back and look 90 days. It takes 90 days to verify. So we say you have to verify legal presence. Doesn't have to be a citizen. You could be a green card, but you have to verify the legal presence when you sign somebody up for Medicaid. And that prevents this 3 months of rolling. The other one is there's states like Illinois, California, and New York that actually cover illegal immigrants in their Medicaid
So
programs.
they can just show
They
up,
just do it. And what they say is that they only do it with state dollars. So they don't use any federal dollars. But the problem is if I'm running the California Medicaid system and you show up and you're Californian and you go and I write the check for you, then I'm being paid by 90% federal dollars.
Right.
Now, if Steve shows up and he's illegal, I still write the check for him, even though you say, well, that's only coming out of the state side. It's still federal money's commingled.
Yeah.
And so what we do is that those states will get a little less federal money to say, well, if you're going to do this, you get a little less federal money to make sure that you're not using federal tax dollars to cover illegals. It's your choice to do it as a state, but you're not going to get federal
Raise
tax
your
dollars.
own revenues.
And we do think that in the estimate by the Congressional Budget Office that they won't cover as many.
And
So-
you can also go
go
to
ahead.
free clinics.
Free clinics,
Yeah.
you got community health centers, you got a lot of other opportunities.
And I want to clarify that for the state. We pulled up a map, and I'll share it on the website later. But the Eastern Kentucky region has a lot of those clinics where they've set up clinics because there was a lot of backlash that we saw in some of our research that showed. There's a for and against with hospitals and clinics and all that other stuff because they stand to lose the revenues that come from the payouts, right? But Kentucky does have clinics and mobile clinics to reach portions of our state where we can't get, like a Baptist
especially
Health
But just
hospital.
remember, one, if it's a fact that 59,000 people out of over 350,000 are
Eligible
they
to
say
work.
losing their they're not losing their Medicaid.
No,
All they have to do is
go
work.
work.
And
That's
they
right.
keep their Medicaid.
That's right.
We're just saying you can't stay home if you're able to work.
Right.
I
So
think
they
that-
work
that-
and they can
That's right.
get
that
it
appears to be an
because
80 or
that
90%
appears to be a
issue across the
problem.
country.
Right.
But you hear from the 10%, obviously.
Right. Oh, yeah.
But yeah.
And if I see another TikTok video of a kid saying, "Look at my check," and I didn't have to do anything, and I stay at home play video games all day, I'm going to lose my mind, right? Hey, listen, I know
I don't
we're.
watch TikToks. I don't know.
I don't either. Well, they come over into reels on social media, and it'll have the
okay. I
TikTok
didn't know
logo.
all of
And then
that
if you
either,
click
but
on
yeah.
it wants you to go to TikTok.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no.
But just remember, if you're on TikTok, the Communist Party of China can get everything out of your phone.
Yeah,
If you
I
link
know.
onto TikTok, they get everything off of your phone.
And we practically give our privacy away every time you download an app. You got to read the privacy statement. So, last question to close it out, and I know you got to go, Brett. When it goes over to the Senate, it's in the Senate. They're going to look at it. What back and forth action do you think you're going to see with the big bill? If they kick something back, how does that all work? And what's the timeline?
So the Senate has to pass a bill, and then hopefully the Senate will adopt pretty closely to what we did. We think ours is reasonable.
Okay.
I know a lot of. I got a letter from the Kentucky hospitals. Wow, this is not what we thought it was going to be. We were able, because you got to remember, we spend $700 billion this year on Medicaid. 10 years from now, we're going to spend over $1 trillion on Medicaid. All we're doing is bending the cost curve. We're decreasing the rate of growth. So hospitals, we went into this, hospitals were told by a lot of people that you're going to lose money. They're not losing money.
That's a false
They're
narrative.
not losing money. The money's still going to increase, just not as fast as it was going in. And most people can say, well, I can live with a slower increase.
Yeah.
I just can't live with a decrease.
Yeah.
And so I got a letter from the Kentucky Hospital Association that says, well, I don't have the quote right in front of me, but essentially this is not what we thought it was going to be. And we appreciate you fighting to make sure you land the plane in the right way.
Yeah.
And that this should... The fear is that rural hospitals, we got them around here,
Sure.
will close, and that's what we wanted to make sure did not happen.
Well, Brett, we're super glad that you came here on the Erlene and Steve show today.
Well,
we're
thanks
going to
for
switch
having
to
me.
our sponsors so you can get onto your next segment. And when Erlene and I come back, we're going to go right into some follow-up questions that we had in social and try to help promote the bill as it is and have everybody have a better understanding. Super glad you came by today.
Well, thank you.
I know we'll see you tonight as well, and then hopefully over at Jailhouse Pizza later this afternoon.
I'll see you.
for
Yeah, I
an
look forward to it.
engagement. So I'm going to switch over to our sponsors right now. You guys stand by as we come right back right after these sponsors.
This episode is sponsored by Serenity Fitness, Yoga, and Reiki, where wellness isn't about following rigid rules, it's about discovering what truly works for you. Founder Wendy Spahn, a retired and disabled Army veteran, created Empowered Serenity, a coaching program designed to help you break free from old patterns, reconnect with your intuition, and step into your power. With meditation, movement, energy work, and intuitive practices, this isn't just coaching, it's a journey of transformation. Learn more at myserenityfitness.com.
Looking to master the art of Taekwondo? Join Sharon's Taekwondo Academy, founded by Bobby Sharon in 1975. Conveniently located off of North Dixie Highway in Elizabethtown, our academy welcomes students of all ages and skill levels. Connect with us on Facebook at Sharon Taekwondo to see our vibrant community, including many Meade County residents. Visit us online at www.sharontaekwondo.com. Sharon's Taekwondo Academy, where discipline meets excellence. Injured? Unsure where to turn? Meet Darren Sipes, attorney at law, Brandenburg's trusted personal injury advocate. Located at 313 Hillcrest Drive, Darren is here to fight for your rights and get the justice you deserve, whether it's an accident at work or on the road. His expertise and compassion put you first. Call today at 270-422-3939. to schedule a free consultation. Don't face the legal system alone. Let Darren Sipes lead the way. Your fight is his mission.
Tired of just getting by? It's time to optimize. At New Vital Infusion and Wellness, we help you level up your energy, balance your hormones, boost your immunity, and glow from the inside out. From IV vitamin drips and NAD Plus to weight loss and aesthetic treatments, we treat the whole you, body, mind, and vitality. Feel sharper, sleep deeper, look brighter. Call 270-735-6126 or visit us at newvitalinfuse.com. New Vital Infusion and Wellness. Live optimized.
Hey, we're back.
Hey, that was exciting,
Wasn't it? I
Yeah,
know.
that
What
was
did you
pretty
think of your first big? That was like a big interview for you. What did you think?
I really liked it. I mean, you know, there was so much information going on, and there was so much talking.
Yeah.
And so that's why I said, talk to me like I'm a.
Yeah, no. And honestly, it's best to be broken down sometimes like that, to ask it from a perspective of understanding. But there's a lot of, there's people that are going to get upset that you're not going to satisfy the masses when you take a look at it. But I think he's generally right when you ask it. If you ask the common able-bodied person, do you think it's fair that somebody gets to go sit down and just not do anything? And
I don't think it's fair.
no, I don't think so either.
I don't. And I also think that if you can do something, if you can, I love that he clarified, yes, you can work and still get Medicaid. But
Yeah.
you have to do something. And then
Support your community.
right, well, during the
Volunteer.
break, Brett and I were talking, and I said, I just think it improves people's quality of life to have to get up and go somewhere and do something.
Absolutely.
today.
Physical ability to work, and motion is lotion. That's what my physical therapist always tells me. And
That's good.
yeah, man, thanks to our sponsors today.
Yeah.
Big shout out to the sponsors and Brett Guthrie. If you want to see Brett again, there is going to be an open gathering at the one of our Jailhouse Pizza. Yeah, one of our local businesses. They're actually headed over now to go and meet with the Meade County Chamber and Nucor.
They're going to meet with Nucor first, and then the chamber's going to meet them at Jailhouse Pizza.
Yeah. So that'll be
that's
an
at
open.
4:30
Mhm. This should be interesting, and we'll get video coverage of that, and then put that back up on the web tomorrow, so you can see how that engagement went. But
And I know we're going to, and listen, guys, we want your feedback. I know there are certain people out there that the second he said Elon Musk, they're going, I don't want to hear another word, because
But
they've
you
already
need to.
decided. But we need to hear
you
that.
need to understand what the implications are of all of the things going on. And I'm just to my Star Trek quote: "The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few."
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Not everybody is going to be satisfied by politics.
And it can't be. I mean, it's impossible to make
No.
every single person happy.
No.
And and some people can dig in and say, well, this is how I'm going to do it. It's how my daddy do it. It's how my granddaddy did it. And the thing is, we can't
No.
continue that.
Yeah, I love that the colleges now are asking people to go and okay, what did you like about this? Okay, great. Now you're gonna do the opposition to what you like, and you're gonna go research all the reasons why somebody should do it versus not do it, and get people to do the research to understand what are all the talking points and what are the benefits and the pros and cons. Because while you lay out pros and cons, you have to understand both sides and why some people would be motivated to do that versus putting up a barrier and prohibiting yourself from hearing anything and then becoming hostile.
Right.
It's absolutely uncalled
The
for.
second anybody becomes hostile and people start yelling,
Shut it down.
That's it.
Yeah,
Nothing
nobody's
gets
listening,
accomplished.
and exactly right. And I kind of would probably agree with him. I think if you ask 70% or 100% of the population, you would get a large majority of Meade Countyans that would say, "Yep, if you're able to go to work, you should be working if you're going to get Medicaid."
I think I asked that question one time a couple of years ago, just in passing on social media,
Mm-hmm.
and I got slammed by a couple of people. There were a couple of people who said things like, "Well, how do you know?"
Right.
Maybe they're mentally stressed and they're unable to do
Right.
so. You can't judge someone just because they're not, in a wheelchair or they
Right.
don't have a obvious outer showing reason why they can't work. But most people can do something.
That's right. And, it's tough being a leader. It's tough being an elected official because you're not going to make everybody happy.
Well, he did a great job. He's very personable. You could tell that he obviously has the majority of people, their feelings and well, not just their feelings, but their needs.
I think he's and listen, I to my Democratic friends that are in the community, just I understand you have a side and a point of view, but there's a compromise that has to be made. The money is not going to be there over time.
Right.
He's creating a pathway where money will be available over time, but just not where it's gone all of a sudden because of mismanagement.
Right, and the figures are staggering that he shared, and the reasons why some of them have happened or gotten to the place they're at is staggering. But the thing also, it's not going to change overnight. All the time people are, Trump's 100 days, what has he done? It's going to take a long time to unravel what has been bound up, and especially bound up in a way that's not been healthy for our country.
So we're going to close out a couple things. I've got extra copies of the grad section for all of those who graduated this week. If you want to stop by the Meade County Messenger and stop by, you can get a copy of that here, or you can get it at local newsstands and see your seniors that are in there that we went to great lengths to make sure it came out looking pretty decent for print, or you can get it on our digital subscription. And then also, we are getting ready to get the fair catalog ready to go and published July. So if you're not a subscriber, you need to subscribe today, because you're not going to be able to get the Meade County catalog unless you either A, go to the fair, or B, you are a subscriber to the newspaper.
And you want to subscribe. You just
Yeah,
want to
you do. We
There's
send
so
it to
much
you in the mail. You don't even have to come and pick it up from a newsstand. So great show today. Stay tuned, as we always have more coming. And next week's paper will also have Brett Guthrie's editorial and op-ed on this whole bill,
Right.
and where he focused all of this energy, so you can get into it a little deeper than what we could in 30 minutes. So
Absolutely. Well, thank you for setting this up. This was wonderful.
it was. You did great today, Arlene. And thanks if you tuned in. Please leave us your comments. We will work to ask those questions, and we will also go over many more tough questions that we asked that we couldn't get into on the show because we were limited to time. So,
Exactly.
well, you guys have a great day. Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody. Wait,
ya.
one more time. I had to bring us back. There we go.